No. It's covered by that.
There you go.
We're live.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is the regular council meeting for the Township of South Algonquin on Wednesday, May 4th, 2022, commencing at 1:02 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is the.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Okay. So if we go to the agenda then. All right. So I call the meeting to order and I will have Carla do the roll call, please.
Okay. Mayor Dumas,
Present.
Councillor Collins,
Present.
Councillor Florent,
Here.
Councillor Harper,
Here.
Councillor Bongo,
I'm here.
Councillor Shala,
Present.
Councillor Rodnick.
Here.
Thank you very much. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, specifically the Madawaska-Rini people of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin people have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land along with the flora and fauna it supports, the people, their customs and traditions with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive within this beautiful territory. Chimigwich, all my relations. We are at agenda item number 2, additions and amendments to the agenda. There are 2 amendments to the agenda. The first one is a minor adjustment to the 2021 financial statements that does not affect our audit process. So that has been shared with council. And we are very pleased this morning to have Public Health Representative Agnes Atkinson with us, who will be presenting in the agenda item petitions, delegations, and presentations. Thank you. I would have the resolution for the adoption of the agenda read, please.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Shala, seconder.
Fire seconder.
I'll second
I'll
it.
do it.
Councillor
Seconded by
Bongo.
Bongo.
Okay.
That council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the agenda as circulated for the regular meeting of May 4th, 2022.
All right, I'll call the vote because I don't have the capacity to see all members of council at one time. So Councillor Collins,
4.
Councillor Florent,
4.
Councillor Harper,
4.
Councillor Bongo,
4.
Councillor Shala,
4.
Councillor Rodnick.
4.
It's carried. With the business before us this morning, does any member of council wish to disclose a pecuniary interest? Hearing none. We are at agenda item number 5, petitions, delegations, and/or presentations. So as I mentioned previously, we welcome Agnes Atkinson from Public Health to give us some information in regards to farmers markets. Welcome, Agnes, and please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you, or see some of you in some capacity anyway. So yeah, I was asked to do this presentation. It's just gonna be a really quick one, open to questions afterwards if you have any, and then I'll also provide my information to you guys to reach out after the fact if you need to as well. So just a little background on myself. I've been a public health inspector working in Renfrew County and District Health Unit for almost 9 years. I'm actually from the area, so I went to high school in Barry's Bay, for example. So I know the region quite well, which is a benefit to me in different aspects of my job. We have 9 full-time health inspectors that are that work throughout the Renfrew County and District, so that includes you guys in in South Algonquin, as well as into the park as well. So I'm here to talk to you about the farmers markets and how they are set up. So in a nutshell, a farmer's market is designated as such if 51% of the market vendors are classified as farmers. So if you meet that criteria, a vendor is permitted to an exemption from the food premise regulation. And I'll get into that in 1 second. But I just wanted to ask you guys a little question. What do you think a farmer is in that classification?
Councilor
Yeah, go.
Bongo here, if I can go ahead.
Absolutely.
The way that I understand it is that somebody can be classified as a farmer if they are growing or producing their own produce or farm product, whatever it may be. They don't necessarily have to have a barn in that traditional sense with the cattle pasture and all that kind of stuff. It could be somebody even in a residential neighborhood that has a garden, and they would fall under that classification, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. Yeah. So it could be honey, it could be maple syrup, it could be garden fresh herbs from the backyard. Yeah. So it's a very all-encompassing type of farmer. We'll put that in quotation marks because we want to allow as many access to that farmers market as possible. So that's why it's not the traditional farmer, as I think most people understand now. We're getting away from traditional in many senses and making it more fluid. So that's where that comes into play. So before the season starts, the organizer must submit a list of all the vendors and their classification to us. Using that information, we complete the risk assessment to determine if the market is considered a farmer's market, and therefore then they have the exemption. And the exemption basically states that if you are providing food at the market, you don't have to provide it from an inspected kitchen. This doesn't mean that some people are inspected and they do come to the market, or they produce do their food in an inspected kitchen that may not be their own, but say, for example, at a Legion or another public place that is an inspected kitchen, that can be also another option. Routine inspections are also conducted at the farmers market in our area. Regardless of this inspected kitchen exemption, I want to make it clear that it doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. So if there's not proper food handling or proper temperatures met at the market itself, at that vendor, there may be ramifications in that sense. So food safety is always our priority, regardless of the legislative responsibility. So it ends up coming into another part of our regulation instead of that food premise regulation. So like, for example, myself, doing an inspection at farmers markets, I have had to discard food that was improperly stored because it can make people sick. So it doesn't mean you can just come to the market with, say cheesecake, for example, that is 25 degrees Celsius. We want cheesecake to be cold because it has a hazardous ingredients in that product. Just as an example. And then if there's anything that's something else that is really important to remember, not just with farmers markets, but it's a good thing to remember that if anything that the public sees or considers as a food safety issue, they can report it to our general call line at the health unit. Complaints to the health unit are always confidential, and we are legally required to follow up on all reasonable complaints. In general, legitimate complaints are a very good way to gauge what's happening in our community, as we can't always see everything that's happening. It also makes it that a premise or a food, like a farmer's market or any of those places, get actually inspected more frequently. And then we can see what's happening in those facilities a little bit more, a little bit better in that way. The other thing that is important one to notice here is that we have these laws in place and the exemptions for the farmers market, but there's also a great website that provides guidance and information to all levels of participants in farmers markets. It's food safety tips, it's operating a market successfully, and you can also sign up on that website to have your farmers market be a location in Ontario, so that when you go onto that website, you can actually see all of the farmers markets in Ontario. And that's just farmersmarketsontario.com. So that's a bit about it. Is there any questions?
It's Councillor Florent here. I have one question. You mentioned that the organizer must submit a list of the vendors. Does that mean that the vendors can't be a fluid number, that they have to be submitted ahead of time?
So there has to be a core vendors so that we can determine if there is going to be an exemption granted or not. So if you have, say, 10 vendors and 4 of them are farmers, it's not going to work. So we need to have that as a core. And throughout the season, you may they may be fluid in that there may be more or less, but the definition and the classification as a farmer's market comes from that first initial risk assessment based on your vendor list.
Okay, but just because you're on the vendors list doesn't mean you have to actually be there as a vendor then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to be there as a vendor, because that's gonna, like, if there's 6 vendors that are saying that they're farmers, but when I go there and there's 4 people, there's only 4 vendors that have nothing to do with fresh produce, for example, then I question why this has been a farmer's market in the first place. So you do have to try to maintain that. Now, saying that, it is obviously in May, you're not going to see a lot of fresh produce because it's May, and we're not big producers. But that vendor says that they're defined as a farmer because they're going to have in like July, August, they're going to have their vegetables or their herbs or their garlic or their whatever that helps them as that definition.
Agnes, it's Mayor Dumas. So if I'm understanding correctly, Agnes, this organizer would be known to you because they have submitted the list of the number of vendors that they are expecting at the market. And if the township is providing space, otherwise we have no connectivity to this process whatsoever. It's on the organizer. So being the mayor, I'm concerned repercussions back to the township. So there would not be any. It would go back to the organizer who has submitted their name to public health as the organizer of a market in South Algonquin.
That's right. So when we talk about organizers too, the at this time, the farmers markets that are already in Ontario, in the county, for example, they all have a fee, a table fee. So you're going to pay a table fee for your vendor at the market. And so you would want to have that, that's part of how they find the vendors. That is part of the process that they'll go through, depending on, I don't know, I think some of them are about $100 to $120 a table, basically, for the vendor. Now that's that's not us, that's totally up to the organizers. But they're often on municipal property. Absolutely.
But if I could clarify one point with you in regards to what you said, that vendor fee is going to the organizer, not coming back to the municipality. Is that correct?
That's a good question for the like if you had like say talking to the organizer at Barry's Bay, because I would think that that's where it goes, because I don't think it has anything to do with the municipality. But I could be wrong. Maybe the municipality asks for a rental fee of the property too. Those things I don't have information about, because that's not part of the process that we have to go through with the markets. So having conversations with already set up markets, like for example, Barry's Bay they've been around for quite some time, so that might be a good option to have a couple of questions for them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments or clarifications from Agnes, from council?
Councilor Harper?
Go ahead, Councilor Harper.
Yes, Agnes, we keep referring to our little community out here having a farmer's market. I don't think it's a farmer's market. I can't see how we can define what happens in South Algonquin, or particularly in Whitney, as being a farmer's market. There's only maybe 3 or 4, at the most 5 vendors may show up there on a Sunday or Saturday morning and sell some of their wares. Now, whether it's honey, or one lady possibly in town might bake 3 or 4 or 5 pies for sale. A lot of that stuff is already spoken for before it's even brought to this little, I will call it a market for now. But as for referring to it as a farmer's market, where it's a possibility that those people are going to have to pay money for tables, they bring their own tables. They don't rent tables off of anybody. It's quite possible nobody knows who's coming to it at any one time. If it's raining, some people aren't going to show up. If it's a nice day, some people will show up. So it's very difficult to have it, called a farmer's market as compared to other places. I just can't see the resemblance in it.
It does take a lot of time to set up. I know I have a market in Eganville that the challenge almost every season is to find vendors that will commit to the farmers market. So if you have a market, let's call it a market right now, what we would be concerned with is that what happens at that kind of market is that it just is not defined as a farmer's market. And so then the people there that are providing food don't have the exemption of inspected kitchen. So now to say that a home-based kitchen can absolutely be inspected and pass the inspection. But usually what happens is that maybe they don't have enough, sinks for washing dishes or whatever it ends up being. It's usually sinks, because a kitchen is plumbed a certain way and it may not have enough sinks. Then you can always have those people who are baking or providing food in some other way to make that food in an inspection kitchen. So like a Legion, or some churches are also inspected as well. Depends on the area. And that on that note, there is also, we have a public disclosure on our website for all inspected premises in Renfrew County. So you can easily check to see if such places are inspected.
Okay.
So Agnes, I think in what I in my mind are trying to come to grips with is the accountability of these gatherings that may not meet your definition of a farmer's market. And should something occur, an adverse health outcome for someone who has done business with someone in this group or whatever, where do the consequences fall? And again, looking out for the township, any liability to the township because these people are meeting on their property or whatever?
Yeah, usually it goes to the operator itself, right away. Because it's them that are providing the product that is not from an inspected area, for example. So they're the ones who'd have to cease and desist, basically, as our first line of defense, is just stop doing this at this point. And then what happens is we're really, as health inspectors, I know that we have a bad rep of like being like the, fun police, basically. but at the end of the day, we actually really, most of our work is about education. And so we work with vendors, we work with premises to get them to where they need to be to do the business that they want to. So if anybody has those things, the first thing we want to do is it's called progressive enforcement, is to initiate the conversation. So again, being out in Whitney on Saturday morning, that we're not necessarily going to see that, but you can have that conversation with those operators to say, hey, give us a call, give myself a call to talk about how to do your stuff safely if you are not going to be defined as an actual farmer's market. And again, it does take years to be able to find the vendors that can help that in that designation.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from other members of council?
Basically, go ahead, Bongo.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So to my understanding, then, if a vendor sells a product that causes somebody to become sick with a foodborne illness, then the onus and the accountability falls on that vendor who sold that pie, not the municipality, not the organizer.
So if it's
Yeah,
defined
sorry.
as if it's defined as an actual farmer's market, then it gets into there's an organizer involved with it and who knew about this stuff and what information. It's all about covering your basis. So if you're a farmer's market itself, the organizer has a responsibility to ensure that the people, the vendors themselves have discussions with us so that we it can be even in like some kind of a contract kind of thing that if you are going to provide food, you have a discussion with us to ensure that they're doing it in a safe manner.
Of course, yeah. And then, so I totally understand the 51% rule and how that allows people to basically process their own food in their own kitchens. That makes sense. Now, with regards to somebody operating a barbecue on site at this market, is that permitted? Because I know that the health department requires a sink with hot water under pressure, or is there an allowance for a wash basin to replace the sink? Is there any kind of allowances with that, or is it just strictly no barbecues whatsoever?
So there is an allowance for it's like a mobile sort of temporary hand sink. And so that would be something to the effect of a container of water that flows down through gravity with soap and paper towel and like a basin underneath to catch the water kind of thing. So we do allow those types of temporary hand sinks at events, and not just farmers markets, but some special events as well that don't have the access to hand sinks if there's food being prepared. And so if there is a barbecue at that kind of thing, it could even be considered a farmer if those products, like their sausages that are from their beef or from their pork, their pigs or something like that too. So that can in some way be also part a vendor that meets the farmer's market vendor definition as well.
Super, yeah. And while on the subject of the person serving the hamburgers or the hot dogs, what if the meat is purchased from the store, but the lettuce and the tomatoes and the onions is coming from their garden? Then
Yeah.
how do you just so do they still fall under that classification of farmer? Or
Yeah,
does
I would say
100
so, because any other person at that market that has any kind of vegetables on their display table is a farmer. So why would they not be a farmer?
Super, yeah.
Yeah, just like we're not going to be getting buns at the farm, sadly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we really do try to, and we would like to have the conversation with any type of food preparation vendor, just to make sure that they're going to still meet, time and temperature, mostly temperatures for hot food or cold food, and that we any type of special event, we always have those conversations with those people, because we still, like I had said before, those still matter. You can't just set up with none of the food safety aspects involved, because food will then be discarded if we find them to be out of compliance.
Okay, super. And then we were also chatting about vendor fluidity. What happens if, say, 60% of people are farmers, and then the market's going very well, and then there's 3 new vendors who want to join, although they are not selling food, and then all of a sudden that ratio falls below 51%. Does that mean that halfway through the season we would need to basically tell everybody that no more food can be sold? Is that the case?
No. So this is the kind of thing where we will use your vendor list from the beginning of the season to define you as the farmer's market of that season. And it kind of, that sort of thing does allow for, all people all of a sudden see that this actually is a viable business option, for example, and they're interested in becoming a vendor, then in the middle of the season kind of thing. That's okay for that season, but then again, next spring you send your vendor list again, and then we define it at that point. The point is basically that we just can't have all art or all something of one thing that there's just like no food, no farmers food there at all, which that's what we're trying to get away from.
Perfect. Yeah. And then ultimately, if there's no food being sold, and then let's say an organizer were to say, listen, it's too difficult to coordinate with the health department because of the food, we're only focusing on arts and crafts, then do we even need to register the market with the health department?
No. If there's no food involved, if there's no farmers involved, then it's just a craft market, for example. Okay, great. And then we would not have to register it with your department, right? We only need to worry about things when they're in when we're talking about hazardous food, basically. Okay, super. All right, thank you so much for answering all of our questions. You're welcome.
Councillor Shala, did you have a question?
My question was just answered here, whether it was a market or a farmer's market, and I got the answer. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions? Brian, did you have anything you wanted to bring up?
I have nothing to add, Mayor Dumas.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think, thank you, Agnes, very much appreciated the timeliness of your getting back to us and all the excellent information that you've given us. So I think from what we're seeing, there are options, and certainly the organizer has the responsibility. So we may have further discussion in regard to this at council, perhaps in the future. I don't know. And if we did, we certainly would look back to you as our source of expertise in this area. So thank you very much, Agnes.
You're welcome. And Brian has my information. So feel free to reach out anytime. I know we have actually had discussions with Bongo before. So again, we're here to help hope that you can get more to where you want to be in economic development, for example.
Very good. All right. Thank you.
All right. You take care.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now. Okay, thank you. So we'll carry on with our agenda. We're at agenda item number 6, the minutes of the previous meetings. So Carla, I would get you to go ahead with the resolution.
Okay, we'll be doing April 6th, so I require a mover and a seconder.
I'll make the motion. It's Councillor Florent.
Councillor Collins, I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Collins. That council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of April 6, 2022 as circulated.
Any discussion on these minutes? Hearing none, I would call the vote. Go ahead, Carla.
Mayor Dumas,
4,
Councillor Collins,
4,
Councillor Florent,
Or
Councillor Harper,
4,
Councillor Bongo,
4,
Councillor Shala,
Or
Councillor Rodnick,
4.
right. We'll go ahead with the second resolution in regards to the minutes from Human Resources Committee.
a mover and a seconder, please.
I'll move that. Councillor Collins.
I'll second it. Councillor Harper.
Moved by Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Harper. The council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Human Resources Administration and the Public Relations Committee meeting of April 20th, 2022 as circulated. Mayor Dumas,
4,
Councillor Collins,
4,
Councillor Florent,
or
Councillor Harper,
4,
Councillor Bongo,
4,
Councillor Shala,
Or
Councillor Rodnick,
4.
carried.
and the next resolution is in regards to the minutes of Economic Development Committee. Go ahead.
Require a mover and a seconder.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Is that Bill?
Yep.
Moved by Councillor Bongo, seconded by Councillor Rodnick. The council for the Corporation of Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the Economic Development Committee meeting of April 20th, 2022 as circulated. Mayor Dumas,
4,
Councillor Collins,
4,
Councillor Florent,
or
Councillor Harper,
4,
Councillor Bongo,
4,
Councillor Shala,
4.
Councillor Rodnick,
4.
carried.
Thank you, Carla. We're at agenda item number 7, committee staff and or council reports. And we have in our committee and staff reports, the first item is the Murchison and Lyle Parks and Recreation Committee meeting of April 12th, 2022. Councillor Florent, any comments or information going forward?
not really, except that they have found a bench to purchase. It's in memoriam bench for Josephine Lentz, and it's going to be placed at the Tom and McMurray Park.
Good to
I
hear.
would imagine, I think they're just ordering it today, as a matter of fact. So I would anticipate probably 2 months before it's delivered.
Great. Excellent work on behalf of the committee, Joe. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. The second item in committee reports is the planning and building report from, just give me a second here, from Tracy Cannon, planning and building administrator. Are there any questions or comments? There is a bylaw in regards to this that we will be passing later on. Anything from you, Tracy?
No, I don't think so. The resolution was passed to approve staff to proceed on April 7, 2021, which is in the package. It's a pretty standard purchase, so I don't see any concerns.
All right, thank you very much. And the third item, we have the monthly fire report to council from Fire Chief Collins. Any questions, or Fire Chief, is there anything that you would like to point out or elaborate upon?
Mayor Dumas, Fire Chief Collins, i.e. Ian, my husband, has just been called away, and
Okay.
he's asked me to run through the report on his behalf. Basically, all the information is here. The instructors courses that you see at the top there, unfortunately, we didn't make the list, but we're on reserve for those. Obviously, more instructors are needed because the Fire Chief, say Ian, is the only instructor at the moment. And that's pretty difficult, putting on 3 different hats at once, but we're on the reserve list. The second item there on training courses, he has identified someone who will do the risk assessment course to enable the fire department to review Brian Acme's community assessment that he's done with regards to the fire department, if that made sense. The last item there, the Fire Chief has circulated information. We need more fire officers to be able to drive the equipment, and they need DZ licenses. And so there are some Z endorsement courses in Ottawa later on this year, I believe, and that would be $374 per applicant, and they would have to travel to Ottawa, and that's being mooted at the moment, and some people are interested. The calls and responses are pretty much there. And I do know there was another moose incident last night as well. So the moose are wandering around. The last thing that he wanted me to mention, the Whitney School fire drills, he's going to attend, and he went and spoke to the 2 principals, but also Janice at Kids Castle. He's going to do an inspection at the end of the month and be there for their fire drill as well at the daycare. And his report that District Chief Tom is at home and post-surgery and is recovering quite well. So he's in constant communication with him. If there's any questions, I'm to take them and he will get back to you personally. So does anyone have any questions here? Oh, good. I've got to write them down.
Well done.
Okay, but if anyone needs to reach out, you know Ian, he's approachable. So, all right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Councillor Collins. Excellent report. All right. So we'll go back to the agenda and let me see here. Sorry,
Mayor Dumas,
yes.
just before we move on from reports, I'd just like to report that the Phenom conference that Councillor Rodnick and I will be attending next week on Tuesday afternoon is a leadership debate for the provincial election. So we're going to be participants in that. So that's the highlight of the conference, I think. And I think 4 leaders are going to be there: the Green Party, the NDP, Conservative, and Liberal.
Excellent, excellent. We'll give them some good hard questions there for us, Joe and Councillor Rodnick. Thank you for that information. So business arising from the minutes. Is there any business arising from the minutes of the regular council meeting of April 6th? Hearing none. Business arising, excuse me, from Human Resources Administration Public Relations Committee of April 20th. Hearing none. And any business arising from Economic Development Committee meeting of April 20th. Good follow-up, Brian. Thank you very much with Agnes from Public Health. Much appreciated, timely and concurrent. So, all right, we're at agenda item number 9. Is there any unfinished business? Okay. Correspondence, we do have an action package in our action section in our package today. And the first item that we have is the proposed proclamation, for victims and survivors of crime. The proclamation was there. And Brian, if we wish to endorse this, do we need to bring this forward to another regular council meeting?
Yes, we would.
Okay. So I would ask that
Excuse me,
council.
Mayor
Sorry.
Dumas, I actually have a resolution in this package for that.
Okay, fine, thank you. I did look at it, but I must have short-term memory loss, I guess. All right, thank you, Carla, much appreciated. The next item, was there any discussion in regards to that? I think it's a very good thing to do. The second was the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, the 2022 Provincial Day of Action on Litter, which is May 10th. Was there anything that council wished to bring forward in regards to this? I thought we could maybe, if there wasn't something on our notice boards in Madawaska and Whitney, perhaps we could just remind the community that it is the Provincial Day of Action on Litter. As I have already seen lots of people out and about in South Algonquin doing retrieval of garbage from the roadsides of the township. So it's much appreciated, every bit that people can do to work on this ever increasing concern to our beautiful township of South Algonquin, the litter along our roads and our highways as well. Any comments from council? Okay, hearing none. And the third item under this council action package is the letter from Joe Avery, the chair of the Whitney Recreation Committee, in regards to the information or the request we had from the public school at the previous meeting in regards to beds at the Lester Smith building in regards to growing of food, etc. So you've all seen the email from Joe Avery. Any comments, or has staff had any contact with Joe Avery in regards to this?
I think from a staff perspective, the only comment I had, if council wishes to allow us to proceed, that Joe and the group work with Dave Gatley to ensure that the location isn't placed on one of our septic beds, or that it's an appropriate place for the turkey placed. And I think that Dave should have some input to ensure that that's done in a manner that won't affect operations.
Okay. Any comments or feedback in regards to that stated plan?
I just have one question. So do we need to pass a resolution in order to give that approval?
No, I think just direction. I'll move forward with speaking with Joe and ensure that the group consults with Dave and collaborates with Dave before they make before they put the beds in place.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm very supportive of that, and I don't know if the rest of council wants to chime in on that, just to provide that direction to confirm it.
I think, well, I could make the collective yes. We certainly do agree with this, and the closer we can be to demonstrating to our children where food comes from, or to anybody, then it's a very good thing as far as I'm concerned. And I would concede, unless I hear to the negative, we would go ahead with that direction to you, Brian, to go forward and have those discussions. Okay.
I would like to add, it's also very nice that children realise that things go on and have to go on sort of 24/7. It can't be, I'll do it one day and someone else will take care of it. You know, that insistence that things like gardening and like watering plants have to happen, and feeding pets and looking after horses and cattle, etc., have to happen every day, not just when they feel like it. So I think this is a wonderful thing to continue into the school holidays with the daycare there. I think it's brilliant. Thank you.
Mayor, Councillor Shalla here. I heard Councillor Florent last week talk about, our last meeting, talk about the importance of watering and caretaking. And I think Councillor Collins referred to that. And I certainly agree, because I, likely for over 15 years, I looked after the flowers at the Gallery Memorial Park. And I know that it takes watering and weeding and fertilizing and caretaking, etc. And it's not just when everything's in full bloom. It's and then it's also, it may take a number of times during the hot period during the week to ensure everything is up to snuff. So I just hope that it all goes well, and I support the project. But I want it to go well. If it's not going to, I think we should make a decision on it.
I think we did get that reassurance at the last council meeting with the teacher. I apologize, I don't remember the teacher's name from the school. And I think you're right, it's very important. I obviously there's water access there. So, and he did indicate that this would get carried throughout the summer. So we have to give them the opportunity to learn that. And the daycare certainly is there all year round. So certainly we'll work with them for their success for sure.
Good.
And by that, I don't mean staff. I mean, if counselors are around or myself and things are, if they can't do it for a day or something, then I, certainly wouldn't mind helping out. But that they have indicated that they want that's part of the process of this, is that the children learn those consequences of not looking after a living plant as well. So thank you very much. So we'll go ahead with that then. Okay. So we'll go back.
Councillor Harper?
Go ahead, Councillor Harper.
I have one more question. Who is looking after the 4 raised beds behind the school up on Gallery Crescent there?
I don't know the answer to that. I thought last year they looked maybe abandoned somewhat. I don't know, Dave. I don't know, that was sort of a volunteer group. I believe we put the beds in there. I don't know.
Yeah. Like you say, everything was good for 1 year. Then the next year, doesn't seem to be anybody looking after it, watering it, or anything else about it. So yeah. As long as the ones in front of the Lester Smith building are taken care of, I have no problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go to the next item on the agenda. Carla, information, correspondence received for information. Some timely information here in regards to our Economic Development Committee meeting previously. I don't know if there's anything anyone wanted to bring forward from these. I think they all have relevance at this point in time. Anything on the community housing renewal strategy? Certainly we're hearing from federal and provincial governments in regards to money that's coming out. And anyway, any comments from council on the first item? Okay.
I have a very general comment. If we could encourage somebody to build tiny homes or a small apartment block or anything, do you think that the Algonquins would be prepared to release a parcel of that Crown land into our care or not?
I could ask Brian to respond, but I would say absolutely not. They're in a negotiation process. They don't have any leverage over that land at this point in time. And it's a negotiation process, and it's, I can't see them doing that at all. Brian, would you have any comments on that?
Basically, our hands are behind our back, yeah? We're tied.
As far as Crown land, absolutely.
Thank you.
Is that correct, Brian?
Yeah, at this time, they don't have ownership of lands, so it would be difficult for them to be involved in that particular aspect. But I think there are other ways to bring numerous partners to the table to have discussions as it relates to our housing needs within the community, between DSAB, the Algonquins, and other interested parties within the community, which may entail businesses who may also have an interest as well. So I think there are some opportunities to bring some things forward in the not so distant future related to that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. The third, go ahead, Councillor Florent.
I'd just like to add to that there seems to be a misconception that all crown lands in South Algonquin are under the lands claim. That's a complete falsehood. It's only a little portion of it is. So it's not an Algonquin problem. It's an MNRF problem that they won't negotiate with any of the crown lands. And they keep the excuse that it's because of the lands claim. It has absolutely nothing to do with the lands claim.
You're
In most
absolutely
of the
right.
cases.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a common response we get when we go to talk about Crown land for sure. So anyway, hopefully things will evolve and open up over time. The next item, number 3, multi-municipal wind turbine group, their setbacks from wind turbines. Again, reading through this, if council remembers, I think it was around 2014, we had a very comprehensive plan that was brought forward to council at the time in regards to wind farms or to windmills along in South Algonquin, and that went the way of it did not progress further, but certainly the plan was there and showed siting along, heights of land for wind turbines, etc. So again, I would put this to council that I believe this should come back to council as a resolution in regards to setbacks. Certainly municipalities are going forward and making these concerns known. I don't know how all members of council feel about that, but maybe bringing a resolution back to the table would give us, formal discussion in the chambers of council in regards to this. Any comments back from council in regards to this item?
I have, Mayor, it's Councillor Shalla.
Go ahead.
I would ask any councillor, or maybe all councillors and the mayor, to check out the substation in Wallace in Sabine Ward. You have no idea of the noise that's coming off that substation. You can be 2 kilometers down on the side hill there to the south on Crown land, and it's unbelievable, the noise. So if you stopped in front of it for a second, you'd certainly understand how some of these how that noise could affect. You couldn't possibly live beside that substation right now, the way the noise is coming out of it. Anyway, and when I reviewed this and I looked at all the various locations and across the world, some of the different locations, I think we should have our own bylaw and we should change it. And I think what's missing in it is it talks about schools, homes, whatever. It should talk about, we've 80% crown land here. We should talk about private, adjacent to private property, because some of that private property, if it wasn't recognized and these were installed in certain locations, that private property would be of no value. And I'm saying that based on the noise that's coming off that substation down there in Sabine. So if I would encourage anyone to take that drive, have check it out. Some days is worse than others. Damper days might be much worse. It's obvious when there's wind, it may not be as bad as when there isn't, but you should just get a feel for what I'm talking about there. And so I think what we should be doing is, it should be, our bylaw should be just talking about adjacent to private property, whether there's a structure on it or not, because we could devalue somebody's property really quick, or possibly they wouldn't be able to build a home in those locations, because I know that it's almost you wouldn't do it if it's similar to what's in Sabine there at the present time.
Thank you, Councillor Shalla. Anyone else?
Councillor Florent?
Go ahead, Councillor Florent.
I'm not sure of the timeline, and I think we may be past it, but our council passed a moratorium against erection of windmills in the township of South Algonquin. So if that moratorium is still in effect, and if it's not, I think we should look at extending it. It's a little redundant to talk about setbacks and clearances if we're not allowing any windmills at all.
Okay.
So I really think we if that moratorium has gone beyond its 10-year tenure, I think we should look at it and at least discuss it again. It's a different council, the opinions might be different, but I'm still of the same opinion that I'm all for windmills as long as they're in somebody else's backyard, not in mine.
I fully agree with Councillor Flores.
I'm getting the sense that we would like staff to take this back. And Joe, thank you for bringing up the moratorium. Have a look at the moratorium and look at what's being suggested in this document from the Municipal Wind Turbine Working Group, and bring this to the table, you know, to look at again, certainly as a go forward for sure. So is that agreeable with the other members of council that haven't spoken at this point in time? We would bring this forward as a report from and recommendation from staff.
I think this is really important that South Algonquin realises we have got to do something with regards to renewable energy. And if we are saying no to wind turbines, maybe we should be encouraging all new builds to have solar panels for their hot water, or there should be something that's showing that we are trying to move towards some form of renewable energy within the township, because otherwise we're going to be left behind. The rest of the province, the rest of the country, the rest of the world is looking to renewable energy in some way, shape or form. And I think we need to move with the flow. And if we're going to say no to wind turbines, let's think about maybe solar panels on public buildings or something of that nature to feed back into the grid. Just something to show that we are wary and renewable energy should be being looked at. That's my opinion with us moving forward with the rest of the country.
Okay, good points, good points. So Brian, have you got direction from council then to certainly look at the wood turbine and our former moratorium, and certainly I think looking at, you know, solar panels or like as asset management, looking at asset management and saying where can we convert, you know, to other alternative methods of energy.
He just had to step out, Duma, so, but I will ensure that he is aware.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. All right. And Carla, if we could go to the next under correspondence for information, number 4, the high-speed internet to every community. Again, this ties into our Economic Development Committee meeting, but it shows certainly that the province is looking very actively for movement on broadband, and is certainly throughout this document, there's a mention of things that they are looking for from municipalities to move this forward in a timely manner. So any comments from council in regards to this? Again, I think this is something that goes back to staff to read through to see where the direction has been given to municipalities for things that that they are looking for in regards to the expansion of broadband, particularly in rural areas. Any comments from council?
It's Councillor Bongo here.
Go ahead.
Just have actually a question for Brian regarding this correspondence about broadband.
Councillor Bongo, just is Brian back, Tracy?
Yes, I am.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Bongo. Brian had stepped out shortly, so go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so my question for Brian is, so we have this really good information here about all of the various different housing programs that are going on. And then we have this really good information here about the broadband. My question is, what do we do with it? In my email correspondence leading up to this meeting, I asked Brian if I needed to submit a resolution or a motion in order to get some action going. And Brian told me that there would be a report in June. So I just want to make sure that we as a council are going to be taking some kind of action of some sort about these two subjects. And that's my open-ended question for the CAO.
If I'd like to respond to that, if I may, I just indicated previously staff direction to give report, and we will ask staff direction to give report at this time for the second item, Councillor Bongo. So Brian, did you wish to add to that?
No, certainly, I had indicated to Councillor Bongo that at our meeting in June, I would bring forward a staff report respecting specifically the activities of the Eastern Ontario Regional Network, which is part of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, which is actually taking us into their area as it relates to funding they've received from the provincial and federal governments for the expansion of broadband services. So I'll bring an update on that too in a report to committee to council at the next meeting in June.
Very good. Thank you, Brian. The work that's been happening in the background is coming to fruition on housing and on broadband. So thank you very much for that. All right. Any other comments from any member of council in regards to this document? All right, hearing none, we'll go to the next agenda item, number 12. Is there any new business from council? Okay. All right, so we are at agenda item 13, motions of council. So Carla, I would let you go ahead with the motion in regards to the financial audit as presented.
Yeah, mover and a seconder, please.
I'll make the motion, but shouldn't that be and amended?
Yes, as amended. Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Councillor Florent and.
I'll second
seconder.
it. I'll second it. Councillor Rodnick.
Moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Rodnick, that council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin authorizes the CAO, clerk treasurer, and mayor to accept and sign the 2021 financial audit as presented on April 20th, 2022 and amended.
Go ahead.
Mayor Dumas,
Or
Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
Or
Councillor Harper,
Or
Councillor Bongo,
Or
Councillor Shala,
Or
Councillor Rodnick,
For.
carried.
thank you. And the next resolution, Carla, go ahead.
I require a mover and a seconder, please.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Shala, seconded by Councillor Bongo. The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin cancels the regular August council meeting of August 3rd, 2022. Mayor Dumas,
Carried. I'm sorry, for.
Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
I'm against.
Councillor Harper,
or
Councillor Bongo,
For.
Councillor Shala,
For.
Councillor Rodnick,
For.
carried.
And the next resolution, please, Carla.
Mover and a seconder, please.
I'll move it, Councillor Harper.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Harper, seconded by Councillor Collins. The council for the corporation of the township of South Algonquin awards tender SA 2022-01 supply and application of liquid calcium chloride to Miller Paving Limited in the amount of $58,935, including HST.
Any
Mayor
discussion?
Dumas?
Oh, just
Sorry.
any discussion?
Councillor Harper,
Go ahead.
how much more is that from last year's amount? Any idea?
Yeah, actually, Councillor Harper, last year, because of the rain that we got, they didn't actually use all of the budgeted amount. Our tender last year was 53,000. They only spent about 25 of that last year due to the weather. But it is up fairly significantly this year in cost. That's 150,000, I think Dave had said for the total amount. So basically about $6,000 over last year for the same supply amount.
Any further discussion?
Well, I was certainly hoping, I don't know why Dave doesn't come to our meetings to ask direct questions. I had a couple, but anyway, I'm just wondering if we, and my suggestion, and it's similar to other years, it seems we wait too long to put it down. And the roads dry out, and then it's an issue. Maybe this year it'll be better because I see we have the tanker going, but I don't know if we're going to water all night before we apply it during the day. But anyway, I'm just thinking that it just seems that we're just waiting too long. We're almost into July and August before, or very late in June, and I think it should be put on much earlier in the season. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Okay. Anyone else?
I agree with Councillor Shala that it should be put on earlier in the year.
Well, then I'm sure Brian will take that back and discuss that with Dave. Anyone else? Okay, go ahead, Carla.
Mayor Dumas,
Or
Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
Or
Councillor Harper,
4,
Councillor Bongo,
Four.
Councillor Shala,
Or
Councillor Rodnick,
4,
carried.
thank you. And the next is on the action of on litter for May 10th. Go ahead, Carla.
Actually, it's the Victims and Survivors Crime Week. first.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry, bottom of the page for me. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Mover and a seconder, please.
I'll make the
move it.
motion, Councillor Florent.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Bongo. That council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin support the mayor signing the proposed proclamation proclaiming May 15th to May 21st as Victims and Survivors of Crime Week.
Call a vote.
Mayor Dumas,
Or
Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
Or
Harper,
4,
Councillor Bongo,
Four.
Councillor Shala,
or
Councillor Rodnick,
4,
carried.
carried. All right, and the next one is on the action on litter day.
I'll move it.
Seconder,
I'll second.
moved by Councillor Shala, seconded by Councillor Bongo. That council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin supports the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks 2022 Provincial Day of Action on Litter, May 10th, 2022.
Discussion? Go ahead.
Mayor Dumas,
Or
Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
or
Councillor Harper,
4,
Councillor Bongo,
Four.
Councillor Shala,
Or
Councillor Rodnick,
4,
carried. All right. Agenda item number 14. Are there any notice of motions? Hearing none. Agenda item number 15, bylaws. Carla, I'll have you go ahead with the first bylaw, please.
Okay, we need a mover and a seconder.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Okay. Go
Moved
ahead.
by Councillor Shala, seconded by Councillor Harper. That bylaw 2022-702 being a bylaw for council remuneration. Bylaw 2022-703 being a bylaw to adopt a council vacancy policy. Bylaw 2022-704 being a bylaw to adopt a disconnecting from work policy. Bylaw 2022-705 being a bylaw to adopt a municipal grants policy. Bylaw 2022-706 being a bylaw to appoint an integrity commissioner. Bylaw 2022-707 being a bylaw for a short road allowance, Ayland Lake. Bylaw 22-708 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council be read a first and deemed read a second time.
The vote
Mayor Dumas,
for,
Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
Or,
Councillor Harper,
Or,
Councillor Bongo,
For.
Councillor Shala,
Or,
Councillor Rodnick,
Or,
carried. The third reading, go ahead.
Claire, a mover and a seconder.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Collins, that bylaw 2022-702 being a bylaw for council remuneration. Bylaw 2022-703 being a bylaw to adopt a council vacancy policy. Bylaw 2022-704 being a bylaw to adopt a disconnecting from work policy. Bylaw 2022-705 being a bylaw to adopt a municipal grants policy. Bylaw 2022-706 being a bylaw to appoint an integrity commissioner. Bylaw 2022-707 being a bylaw for a shore road allowance, Ayland Lake. Bylaw 2022-708 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
And I'll be deemed to be read a third time. And I would ask, is there any discussion on the bylaw being a bylaw for council remuneration? Hearing none. Bylaw 2022-703 being a bylaw to adopt the council vacancy policy. Any discussion? Hearing none. Bylaw 2022-704 being a bylaw to adopt a disconnecting from work policy. Any discussion? Hearing none. Bylaw 2022-705 being a bylaw to adopt a municipal grants policy. Any discussion?
I have one.
Go ahead, Councillor Harper.
Yes, under the grant policy, I see there's a 13-page application form for municipal grants. Does that apply to, let's say, a situation where our seniors are putting on a trivia night and are looking for a $100 donation to offset their costs? Does that qualify under this program? And if so, is it necessary for them to complete a 13-page application to get that $100? It looks to me like you've got to be a lawyer to figure out the application form to begin with and put all the information in there. Is it really necessary for that to happen? Question for Brian.
Councillor Harper, I would suggest that if there's any issues with how they fill it out, they can simply come in and see staff and we will walk them through it. There are parts of the form that are necessary and there are other parts that may not be necessary, but it does cover a wide range of asks. And because of that, we needed to be a little more comprehensive, but certainly there are parts of it that would be applicable. And they would just simply have to, if they have issues, certainly we'll assist them in completing the applications.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a comment. I basically had the same comment that or concern that when we discussed this previously at a committee level, that it was going to take a lot of staff time, and it seems it appears that there's a lot to it, and I'm just wondering whether it was necessary or not. But anyway.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, bylaw 2022-706 being a bylaw to appoint an integrity commissioner. Any discussion? Bylaw 2022-707 being a bylaw for a share road allowance, Ayland Lake. Any discussion? Okay. I'll wait till you catch up with this there. And then the last one, bylaw 2022-708 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council. I would ask that we call the vote then, Carla.
Mayor Dumas,
For,
Councillor Collins,
For.
Councillor Florent,
Or,
Counselor Harper,
For,
Counselor Bongo,
Or,
Counselor Shala,
For,
Counselor Rodnick,
For,
Thank you. Agenda item 16, there is no requirement to move into closed session. So agenda item number 17, adjournment. Carla, go ahead, please.
Mayor, just before you do that, when Councillor Harper mentioned trivia night, it twigged my mind. I should have reported under the recreation that we did hold a trivia night on Monday night from the Murchison Isle Recreation. And we were overwhelmed with the amount of support from stores and suppliers in South Algonquin and Barry's Bay, and in fact, Bancroft too, I think supported us quite well. We're going to be able to donate somewhere close to $2,000 to the hospice, hospital, and the manor.
Wow, that's an awesome way to end the meeting, Councillor Florent, and congratulations to yourself. I know all the work that you do in that, and to the members of the Recreation Committee as well. And that's a phenomenal amount of money. I congratulate you, and I'm sure all the members of council do as well, and staff. So well done, and thank you. And I would just, this is the advertisement portion before we close the meeting. I would just encourage council and members of the community. The library has an awesome event coming up on, I believe it's May 18th in Madawaska. Have an excellent speaker coming in, and that will be going on the notice boards in Whitney and Madawaska, but certainly I would encourage the community to support that as well. Excellent. I apologize. I meant to have the poster here, but I don't, but I think it will be on Township Facebook page as well. So support our libraries in Madawaska and in Whitney as well. All right, so we still need to go ahead with the vote, I believe, Carla, to adjourn.
oh, I still need a mover and a seconder.
Okay,
Before we adjourn,
okay, go ahead, Sandra. Are you there?
before we adjourn, I would personally like to thank, before we adjourn, I'd personally like to thank Councillor Florent for his absolutely amazing trivia night on Monday. It was superb, and it was so good to see everybody out together having a really fun evening, and obviously raised for the foundation. But thank you, Councillor Florent, for actually doing that, really personally. And I know everybody wanted to thank you. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Collins. All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, Carla, go ahead with the vote then, please.
Still need a mover and a second.
So, could we get a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll
make
move
the
it.
motion.
I'll
Yeah,
second it.
Counselor- All right. Moved by Councillor Collins, seconded by Councillor Shala. The council for the corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adjourns the regular council meeting of May 4th, 2022 at 10:20.
All right, call the vote, please.
Councillor Dumas,
Or,
Councillor Collins,
For,
Councillor Florent,
Or,
Councillor Harper,
for,
Councillor Bongo,
or,
Councillor Shala,
Or,
Councillor Rodnick.
For.
carried. Thank you, everyone. A very good meeting, and have a